Hello everybody!
Today we're sharing our top 10 must-visit places in Sydney to help you plan the perfect trip.
When we have visitors, we love showing them around Sydney and they usually fall in love with the city too.
Over the years, we've discovered some amazing spots to take people, and we try to avoid the tourist traps. Some are well known, but others are hidden gems that many tourists miss.
Our favourite is number 10, but the others are in no particular order. Let's start with number 1, Balmoral Beach. Located on Sydney Harbour and so protected from strong ocean currents. This is a family-friendly gem with calm waters, amazing cafes and a peaceful vibe. It has a quaint bridge over to a small island, a rotunda, which is a popular spot for wedding proposals, weddings and picnics. It's perfect for swimming, paddleboarding or just enjoying a lazy lunch by the water. There are some great places to eat and drink, from the always busy fish and chip shop, the boathouse and the Chef's Hat rated Bathers Pavilion and the public dining room. You can drive to Balmoral or take a ferry from Circular Quay to Taronga Zoo and then take a short bus ride to Balmoral Beach.
Now let's head into Sydney itself, to somewhere that literally allows you to see all of Sydney in one go.
Sydney Tower, or locally known as Centre Point Tower, is a great place to get your bearings in Sydney and enjoy breathtaking views of the entire city. From 300 metres up, you'll get a 360-degree view of the city, taking in the harbour, beaches and even the Blue Mountains on a clear day. It's fun to watch the planes taking off and landing at Sydney Airport and the coming and goings of boats on Sydney Harbour. You can get an aerial view over to Darling Harbour, Barangaroo, Sydney Harbour, the Domain, Hyde Park, King's Cross, the eastern suburbs and down south to Port Botany. There is a revolving restaurant which rotates once every 70 minutes so you won't get dizzy. To get to the tower, you walk through Martin Place and the Westfield Mall, which was once called Centre Point, so you can do some shopping on the way. If you want an even better view, you can try the Skywalk, but only if you're not scared of heights, as you'll be outside the tower.
Now let's head to one of the spots you'll have seen from the tower and has a building which is almost as tall.
Barangaroo is a relatively new area of Sydney, dominated by the Crown Casino, also known locally as the Tulip. It is opposite Darling Harbour, which you can walk to, and you will pass Cockle Bay, some stunning new hotels and many bayside restaurants and bars. Also, if you want to see some native Australian wildlife, you can visit the nearby Wildlife Sydney Zoo. This is Sydney's modern side, and the cafes and bars lead to an urban park that blends Indigenous history with stunning harbour views. You can board ferries and other sightseeing vessels and showboats at Barangaroo Wharf. It is just a short walk through the pedestrian tunnel to Wynyard Station and Sydney's CBD. Alternatively, a nice harbourside walk past Barangaroo Reserve will take you to our next must-see spot, The Rocks. No trip to Sydney is complete without exploring The Rocks, the city's oldest area. It is located at the foot of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which you can walk over, visit the Pylon Museum or do the bridge climb experience. The Rocks has many places to eat and is particularly known for its old-style pubs. There are reminders of the early days of Sydney, from cobblestone streets to heritage-listed buildings, which are a striking contrast to the modern city skyline. Be sure to check out the famous weekend markets. We always love to take our visitors to the Lord Nelson Brewery pub, which is the oldest hotel in Sydney. This unique gem is definitely a must-see and will remind UK visitors of a typical pub back home. We've stayed at the Lord Nelson before as it's a great location, but reserve accommodation well in advance as there are only 7 rooms and it gets booked up very quickly.
Now let's head a short distance past the Museum of Contemporary Art to the hub of Sydney.
Circular Quay is the beating heart of Sydney's harbour with its busy ferry terminus and train station. You can also catch the light rail from the station behind Circular Quay. It's buzzing with activity and the buskers always draw a crowd. Walking the opposite way round the harbour from the Rocks will take you to the Opera House and Botanical Gardens past Opera Quays. A great place to have a drink and take in the view is the Opera Bar, located just below the Opera House. You can take a tour of the Opera House if you have time, but the best way to experience the harbour is by hopping on a harbour cruise or taking a ferry over to Manly or Watson's Bay. You'll sail past the Opera House, Harbour Bridge and even get a close look at waterfront mansions. It's pure magic on the water. You can also take a sightseeing cruise, for example Captain Cook cruises or a fantasy hop-on, hop-off ferry.
Now let's stay in Sydney and head to one of the most impressive and oldest buildings in the city.
For a touch of history and luxury, visit the Queen Victoria Building, or QVB as the locals call it. This heritage-listed building has 5 levels, including the lower ground level which connects to Town Hall train station. It is home to boutique shops, beautiful stained glass windows. It has some beautifully designed cafes that cater for high tea, which is very popular if you want something a little different and decadent. The upper levels have walkways around the central atrium with shops and cafes to one side and a magnificent view to the floors below to the other. Bridges crisscross from one side to the other along the building. It has 2 ornate animated clocks and the large stained glass domes are a work of art.
Now let's head north to the northern beaches of Sydney.
We have always liked the northern beaches and DY in particular. It is not on the tourist route because you really need a car to reach the northern beaches. It is not on the train line either, so public transport is only by bus. This is more of a local area, but there is a lovely strip of cafes and restaurants that line the road parallel to the beach, and it is a hub of activity. One of our favourite things to do is to park our car by Collaroy Beach, next to the Long Reef Golf Club, and then walk up the path to the headland at the top of Long Reef, where there is an amazing lookout and a bronze map depicting all the northern beaches you can see. This is a favourite spot for paragliders who fly in the hot air thermals, and there is a very good chance you will spot whales breaching if it is their migrating season. We then continue our walk down the path past the golf course and along DY Beach to DY itself. At DY you can walk round to the rock pool and a large rocky shelf where you can explore rock pools left by the tides. Sometimes we walk the path to Curl Beach, which is another good beach to swim at. We also like to do the nearby trail around Narrabeen Lagoon, which is yet another unique walk Sydney has to offer. The northern beaches stretches up to Palm Beach, which is a beautiful peninsula and has been made famous by the filming of Home and Away at Palm Beach at the most northerly point. In some parts you can see both the ocean and water inlets. At Palm Beach you can take a return ride on a seaplane to Rose Bay in the eastern side of Sydney Harbour. We did this once as it was on our bucket list, and it was truly amazing as the pilot had clearance to fly over the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Tourists tend to head to the well-known eastern suburb beaches such as Bondi due to the closeness to the city. But we always take our visitors to the northern beaches and they've loved it.
Now let's head back to another lesser-known beach.
Shelley Beach. We love Manly, which often has a weekend market on the Corso, and then the icing on the cake is the coastal footpath to Shelley Beach. This idyllic little beach is a popular spot for sunbathing, swimming, scuba diving and snorkeling. We usually have something to eat at the excellent Boathouse restaurant. Shelley Beach is a small protective cove that's perfect for spotting marine life.
Now we head to one of the many national parks in Sydney.
Sydney has some amazing national parks, and Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park is about a 40-minute drive north of the city. This vast national park offers bushwalks and is nestled along the shores of the Cowan Creek, Broken Bay and Barowra Creek. These waterways can be explored if you hire kayaks or larger boats. We always go to Barowra Waters as it has some great places to eat and lots of paths to explore. It is a sanctuary for wildlife, so you can spot some colourful native birds or even some wallabies and kangaroos.
Now for something that's our favourite thing to do and always blows our visitors away.
The Coogee to Bondi walk is a must-do for anyone visiting Sydney, and although we've done it countless times, we never get bored with it. This stunning coastal walk is definitely Sydney at its best. The 6-kilometre walk will take you a leisurely 2 to 3 hours and will take you past Coogee, Gordons Bay, Clovelly Beach, Waverley Cemetery, Bronte Beach, Tamarama and onto Bondi itself. There are dramatic boardwalks, cliffs, secluded beaches and plenty of photo opportunities. It is always popular with runners and fit-looking lycra-clad power walkers. There are plenty of places to stop and have coffee and something to eat along the way. The Bondi Icebergs has a range of bars and restaurants with iconic views to Bondi Beach. In October, it is also the location for the famous Sculptures by the Sea exhibition. We either take the light rail to Randwick and walk 15 minutes to Coogee to start the walk, or if we drive, we park at Clovelly and have breakfast at Sea Salt before starting the walk. To get back, you can take a bus or even walk to Bondi Junction and then catch a train into Sydney. If you want to stay at one of the beaches, we personally prefer the lively Coogee, which has some great hotels and plenty of places to eat and drink, including the always lively Coogee Pavilion. So there you have it, our ultimate list of Sydney's must-visit spots. Whether you're into beaches, history or nature, Sydney has something for everyone. Let us know in the comments which of these places you'd love to visit, and don't forget to subscribe for more travel tips and adventures. We love making these videos and we hope you enjoy watching them too. Thank you for watching Lewis and Bonnie's Australia.